IELTS Reading Course Summary. In this lesson I'm going to give you a very quick summary of what we've seen on this video course for IELTS Reading. Please note that all of these lessons for IELTS Reading have been for both the academic and general tests. The question types in both tests are the same, and my advice in terms of techniques is exactly the same for both of these tests. Of course there are small differences. The general test mainly is easier and has shorter passages, but as I said, the techniques especially are the same, so it's the same advice for both. Let's look at a summary of that advice now. If you've watched and studied the reading lessons on this video course, you should now feel confident that you know exactly what to do in the reading test. Here's a summary of what I hope you've learnt. First thing in this summary is the main technique. I hope it's clear that the keyword technique really does work. I've mentioned this technique in every video lesson on this course and in many more lessons on my blog. The keyword technique is a very simple idea. It's about underlining the main words in the question and searching for those words or similar words in the passage. Practice this method as much as you can before your test, and you will get better at finding the answers. The second thing in this summary, it's a vocabulary test. I always tell my students that IELTS reading is testing your understanding of English vocabulary. If you understand the words that you read, you should be able to get the right answer. Always write down the key vocabulary from any reading test or exercise that you do. As your vocabulary knowledge grows, you'll find the test easier. And I hope it's been clear from these lessons that vocabulary is key to this test. Summary point 3, question types. I've covered all 9 question types in the lessons on this course. Make sure that you're well prepared for each one so that you don't waste time using a bad technique that doesn't work. Let's look at the question types that I've covered quickly. I'm going to put them in 2 groups here. The first group of 5, gap fill, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, multiple choice and short answer questions. With those types, the keyword technique works very well. You can just take each question in order, use the keyword technique, find the answers. If you watch the lessons that I did about those types, you'll see that I just do it in that way. There's a few other bits of advice, but mainly it's normal keyword technique. However, for the other 4 types of question, matching paragraph headings, matching paragraph information, matching names, and matching sentence endings, in other words, any matching question, it becomes a bit more difficult and we have to use some other techniques as well as the keyword technique. If you're not sure about that, you need to watch those videos again, because especially for those 4 types at the bottom, there are some different suggestions and tips that I give about how to do those questions in an effective way. So those are the question types, and I've taught techniques for all 9 of them. The next summary point, the time problem. Most people find that time is a problem in the IELTS reading test, but the solution is not faster reading or more skimming and scanning. I recommend that you read at normal speed. If you read too quickly, you'll miss the answer and waste time. So don't skim or scan unless you're searching for something very easy, like a number, a name, or a distinctive word, a very special word, maybe a technical word. If you're searching for a number or a name or a distinctive word, you can skim quickly or even scan the text to find it, but normally I wouldn't recommend doing that. You can read at normal speed and that's not a problem. A few tips then to summarize my advice about the time problem. You should be okay with time if you use the keyword technique well. Also remember to miss any difficult questions. Move on, get to the end, do all 40 questions in the test and then go back to the questions that you missed. It's best to leave the difficult ones, get the easy questions done, Anything that's taking you too long, it's too difficult to find the answer, you've got to miss it and move on. Final piece of advice about time is spend 20 minutes for each passage. Don't spend longer on any of them. Sometimes passage 1 is the most difficult. Sometimes passage 2 is the hardest. Sometimes it's passage 3. We don't know. All I can say is spend 20 minutes on each one, keep to that schedule, and you're more likely to finish the test. Be strict with yourself with the timing. Make sure you get to the end and finish. Okay, the final piece of summary advice, number 5, is do lots of practice. Do the tests in the official Cambridge IELTS books. Keep following my advice and practicing the techniques in my video lessons and blog lessons. And also, when you're practicing, you shouldn't always treat it as a test. Try going slowly and carefully through a test. You could even use a dictionary. You don't need to do a full test. Just do sections. Work on certain question types. Slowly and carefully during the week as you prepare, and then maybe do a full practice test at the weekend. That's a good technique to try. So you're not always testing yourself. I've found that it's easier to work on getting a high score first, then trying to get faster later. Work on your techniques, your understanding of how to do the test first, and look at your speed later. You will get faster as you get better at the techniques. So if you want to improve, lots of practice is the final piece of advice. And that's the end of my summary of the video course for IELTS reading. I hope you found it useful, and I hope you keep practicing and get better.